Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing great. Today, we're diving into something that has been making headlines every year, the Doomsday Clock. Now, I know this might sound like some sort of sci-fi countdown to the apocalypse, but trust me, it's real, and it's serious. If you've ever heard about the Doomsday Clock but weren't quite sure what it represents, then this is the video for you. We're going to break it all down: what it is, why it was created, how it works, and most importantly, what it means for us today. But before we jump into the deep end, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. The Doomsday Clock is not a literal countdown to the end of the world. It's a symbolic measure created by scientists and experts to show us how close humanity is to global catastrophe. The closer we are to midnight, the greater the risks we face from things like nuclear war, climate change, and emerging threats like artificial intelligence and cybersecurity issues. This is all based on factual data and expert analysis, not fear-mongering. My goal today is to educate and spark a conversation, not to cause panic. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. All right, so first things first. What exactly is the Doomsday Clock? The concept was first introduced in 1947 by a group of scientists who had worked on the Manhattan Project, the same team responsible for developing the first nuclear weapons. After witnessing the devastation caused by nuclear bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, these scientists felt a deep responsibility to warn the world about the dangers of unchecked technological advancements, particularly nuclear weapons. They needed a simple, visual way to show how close humanity was to potential global destruction. That's when they came up with the idea of the Doomsday Clock. Midnight represents catastrophe, the end of civilization as we know it. The closer the clock gets to midnight, the higher the risk of something disastrous happening. Over the years, the scope of the Doomsday Clock has expanded beyond nuclear war to include other existential threats like climate change, biological warfare, pandemics, artificial intelligence, and geopolitical instability. Every year, a panel of scientists, including Nobel laureates, meets to evaluate the state of the world and decide whether to move the clock forward, backward, or leave it unchanged. The factors they consider include global military conflicts, nuclear arms races, climate policies, technological developments, and even cybersecurity risks. It's essentially a way to measure how well or how poorly humanity is managing its greatest challenges. So, let's talk about the current situation. As of January 29th, 2025, the Doomsday Clock is set at 89 seconds to midnight. Yes, you heard that right. Just 89 seconds. This is the closest we've ever been to metaphorical global catastrophe. To put this into perspective, here's a quick timeline of how the clock has changed over the years. In 1947, when it was first introduced, it was set at 7 minutes to midnight. In 1953, it moved to 2 minutes to midnight after the US and the Soviet Union tested hydrogen bombs. The furthest we've ever been was in 1991 at 17 minutes to midnight after the Cold War ended. Fast forward to 2018 to 2019, and we were at 2 minutes to midnight due to nuclear tensions and climate issues. Then in 2020 to 2022, the clock moved to 100 seconds to midnight, the first time it was under the 2-minute mark. In 2023 and 2024, it was at 90 seconds to midnight, and now, in 2025, it's at 89 seconds, the closest it's ever been. This is a clear indication that we are not heading in the right direction. The world is facing multiple crises at the same time, and experts believe we are at a very high risk of disaster. But what exactly is causing the clock to keep moving forward? Let's break it down. There are several key reasons why the Doomsday Clock is now just 89 seconds to midnight. The main factors include nuclear threats, climate change, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity risks, and geopolitical conflicts. One of the biggest risks today remains nuclear war. Countries like the United States, Russia, China, and North Korea have been ramping up their nuclear arsenals, and tensions between these nations are higher than they've been in decades. With ongoing conflicts and unstable international relations, the risk of a nuclear confrontation is not just a Cold War-era issue, it's a very real danger in today's world. One mistake, one miscalculation, or one bad political decision could lead to a devastating nuclear exchange. The worst part? Modern nuclear weapons are far more powerful than the bombs dropped in 1945. A large-scale nuclear conflict could wipe out millions, if not billions of people, and make large parts of the planet uninhabitable for centuries. The second major factor pushing the doomsday clock forward is climate change. Scientists have been warning us for years that if we don't take serious action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, we're going to see catastrophic consequences. Right now, we're experiencing rising global temperatures leading to more heat waves, more frequent and powerful hurricanes, floods, and wildfires, melting polar ice caps causing sea levels to rise, and food and water shortages in vulnerable regions. Despite some progress with renewable energy, many world governments are not acting fast enough to combat the crisis. The longer we delay, the more irreversible the damage becomes. Another emerging threat is artificial intelligence, AI, and cybersecurity vulnerabilities. While AI has amazing potential to improve our lives, it also comes with huge risks. Unchecked AI development could lead to autonomous weapons, widespread job loss, and even systems making critical military or economic decisions without human oversight. Cybersecurity is another major issue. Countries and hacker groups have been launching cyber attacks on financial systems, power grids, and even nuclear facilities. A major cyber attack could shut down entire cities or cripple the global economy. We are also currently witnessing multiple wars and political tensions across the globe. From territorial disputes to economic sanctions, governments are struggling to maintain peace. If these conflicts continue escalating, they could lead to larger wars or even trigger a nuclear confrontation. The doomsday clock isn't just a warning for scientists, it has real-world effects. On the negative side, it creates global anxiety about the future, makes governments more defensive and militarized, affects the economy as uncertainty can discourage investments, and fuels political tensions, making peaceful resolutions harder. However, it does have some potential advantages. It raises awareness about critical global issues, encourages governments to act by passing laws and policies, and pushes for scientific and diplomatic solutions. So, should we be worried? The doomsday clock is not a prophecy. It's a warning. It tells us that if we don't take action now, we risk moving even closer to disaster. The good news? We can move the clock backward. We've done it before, and we can do it again by making smarter global decisions. And that's it for today's video. If you made it this far, drop a clock emoji in the comments, so I know you're part of the informed crew. What do you think is the biggest threat to humanity right now? Let's start a conversation below. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share if you found this informative. Until next time, stay informed, stay safe, and take care.